Hello everyone, today I'm here with a real thoughtful event of my life that will surely shock you and you'll be surprised. Before moving towards the video, I want you people to subscribe to our channel for more interesting and engrossing real couple stories. Tracing a few months back, when an unexpected event happened to me, whenever I do think about that event, I still get goosebumps. In May 2022, I got married to a girl who was 5 years older than me. She was very stylish and concerned about her fitness, so she looked even younger than me. I met her at a birthday party of our mutual friend. I remember I did a couple dance with her, and soon I gave her my number and we got into a relationship. Our relationship remained for just a few months as I did marry her soon. I belonged to a rich family. Although he was my father, I considered him as my own father as I spent my whole childhood in his presence. There were just 3 people in our house before I got married. My stepfather was rich and moneyed businessman. I remember when I told my stepfather about my decision to marry my wife, as he wanted me to marry his sister's daughter. Well, in spite of opposing, I soon got married to her. She was kinda mysterious as she never told me anything about her family except that she lived in an apartment with her co-workers. Our wedding day was really good, but unfortunately, my stepfather did not join us as he was occupied in a business meeting. Our wedding night was really good, but something really strange happened the next morning. When I woke up, I found my wife nowhere in the room. I stepped out in order to find her and was shocked to see her at my stepfather's room. When she caught sight of me, she was literally sweating. I asked her, "What are you doing here?" She replied that she was looking at the whole luxurious bungalow. Meanwhile, she caught a look at the family photo hanging in the room. I patted on her shoulder and began to tell her about my family, but I remember exactly how her facial expressions were really manipulating. The very next, I came to know that my stepfather is reaching home. When I told her about my stepfather, she seemed kinda nervous. I really ignored and did not consider her face expressions. I remember when my stepfather reached the house, he was literally gazing at my wife. Like he maintained a long eye contact with her. I was creepy, but I did not let it go on my nerves as my stepfather was a keen observer, basically like the one who loves to share. I remember my wife really used to keep herself locked in the room in the presence of my stepfather. Soon I came to know from my office that I have to transfer to another city for the same occupation along with the family. My wife was really happy after hearing this news, but obviously I was upset as I really did not want to leave my luxurious house and facilities. It was kinda shocking, but my wife was desperately waiting for moving to the new separate house. Although my stepfather showed a moderate response over it, after shifting to the new house, my wife was really happy and excited. She was decorating the house in the best possible way. The same night we went to have dinner, but something really perplexing happened. Like, I remember we were eating dinner, meanwhile, my wife got a notification on her mobile. After seeing the picture, she was literally like fish out of water. I could feel the high fear on her face. When I asked her what happened, she began to sweat. She was literally hiding her mobile as something secret was kept in her mobile. Even on reaching the home, she took a blanket and was shivering. We did not even have a cuddle that day. Our life was going good. I remember, after exactly 1 month, my stepfather called me that he'll stay at our house and he'll be having some business meeting over the city where I was living. I obviously said him yes, even I was excited about this. But my wife's behavior was beyond my understanding. Like she was making a soup for us. As soon as I told her about my stepfather's arrival, she dropped down the cooking spoon to whom she was mixing the spices. Even her foot got slightly burnt as well. Her panic response was something stimulating. I asked her, "Are you alright, honey?" She replied that she had got a severe pain in her stomach. Even almost whole night, she was at the washroom. I even listened to some weeping sounds of her. I asked her again and again about her unusual condition, but he did not tell me. I even took her favorite chocolates to make her happy, but she just gave me a fake smile. That day, my wife's behavior was really creepy. She was very afraid on my stepfather's arrival. She probably really wanted my stepfather to come at our house, but the question is why she was extremely reacting on my stepfather's arrival. There was something must be hidden. When my stepfather was about to reach at our house, I remember my wife was doing packaging of her luggage. I was shocked to see her doing like this, and it seemed like she was going somewhere for a long time. I asked her where she is going. She said she is going to visit one of her friends for a few days. I did not allow her to go, but still she did not listen to me. She was extremely upset and afraid of my stepfather's visit to our house. When my stepfather reached our house, he was continuously asking my wife as if he was interested in her. I remember even he was compelling me to call her back at the house. Firstly, I considered her concern positive, but later something unbelievable happened. I called my wife as she was at her friend's house for many days. Obviously, she was having no excuses, and sadly, she sent me to receive her. As soon as my wife reached at the house, my stepfather was looking at her deeply, and it was really creepy. Once when it was 2 p.m. of the night, I unintentionally woke up. I did not find my wife, even she was not at our room's washroom. I went out to look her and shocked to see her shivering. When she looked at me, she hugged me. I felt like someone else was also with her, as I could smell the perfume fragrance that my stepfather used. I asked my wife many times what happened with her. At first she did not say anything. Later she said she got a horror dream. I calmed her down and we cuddled. Another day when I reached home, I came to know that my wife is pregnant. I was really happy and thrilled after hearing this good news, but my wife was moderate. It seemed like she was afraid again. My stepfather congratulated me and said something unexpected. He said me to have a DNA of baby, although he said this in a joking manner, but still this thought was unbearable. I literally gave him an annoying expression. I appointed a full-time maid as well, but I did not know why my father was forcing me not to appoint any maid with an excuse that stealing is common these days and we cannot trust someone in this unknown city. One day when I was about to leave for the office, but on reaching towards the car, I realized that I forgot my car keys in the bedroom. I went back home in order to take my key. I was shocked to see my stepfather, who was secretly looking into my bedroom like the robbers do the stealing. When he found me there, he was totally shocked and immediately went outside of the house. His behavior was really complex. When I entered the room, I was shocked to see my wife in such a condition, as she probably just came from the washroom after bathing. I was literally shocked to see her in this condition. It means that my father used to chase her like that. My father's activities were becoming more and more strange day by day. I noticed him so many times, hungrily looking at my wife. I even began to understand why my wife was so afraid of my stepfather and did not want him at our house. Once, when I got a severe headache, I went home very early that day. My stepfather used to be at this business meeting in this time period, but when I reached the house, I was shocked to see his car parked outside of the house. It seemed like he was in the house. On reaching the house, I was shocked to see him patting on my wife's back, who was standing in front of the stove and cooking something. I felt no fear in my wife's face, like she was usual with my stepfather's that act. However, when both saw me, they pretended to be normal, and my wife told me that my stepfather is so fond of baking and he is telling her more about baking. After listening to her words, I was literally amazed, as I knew since the beginning that my stepfather really did not know how to hold the spoon. My wife's behavior was getting better day by day. Even she sent me to ask the full-time maid to go. My stepfather had to stay there just for 17 days, but now it has been about a month and he still has not gone back. Everything happening was disturbing me. My stepfather and my wife's activities were getting more and more mysterious day by day. I decided to get into the matter in order to become familiar with the reality. One day I decided to go to the home early without informing them both, so I may know the matter, but that day my stepfather was not at home and even my wife was outside buying groceries. I thought my idea would not work. Later, I tried to hack my wife's phone, but this idea also did not work. My stepfather and my wife's activities were continuously popping up in my mind. I was unable to understand the situation. Soon I got another idea. The very next day, I told my wife that I will reach home late as I have an urgent meeting in the office. That day, I even left the house early. I created the scenario just to catch them red-handed and familiar with the fact. Although there was an urgent business meeting, I still left the office. I reached the house and saw something that was a turning point of my life. I must say fate played such an unfair game with me. What did I saw? I saw that my stepfather and my wife were so close to each other. As I went more inside the house, I realized that my stepfather and my wife were kissing passionately. I was shocked to see them. I yelled at them. So as they saw me both, they were alerted. They both were amazed. I can see the sweating on their faces. My stepfather began to give me an explanation about what I saw. Meanwhile, I pushed him back and moved towards my wife. My wife began to cry loudly and confessed something that was extremely heartbreaking and shocking. My wife said that my stepfather was used to be her sugar daddy once when she used to job at his place. My stepfather was continuously forcing her for physical paid activities. She further said that her mother was really very sick as he was on last stage of cancer. Her treatment was really expensive and not affordable for me. She then agreed with my stepfather's idea and used to pay her amount on daily basis. She used this amount to her mother's treatment. My stepfather used to click with her in inappropriate pictures as well. My wife began to cry and said that once when she reached the home, she came to know that her mother had been died. After her mother died, she obviously cut off all contacts with him. Even she changed her ID names and phone number. But fate was really unfair to her that she again faced my stepfather in my house. My stepfather used to blackmail her by sending their inappropriate pictures together. My stepfather was continuously forcing her to be physical with her, otherwise he will reveal my truth. After saying these all words, my wife took a long breath, seated on the floor and said, "When I got pregnant, I was extremely happy, but soon I remembered your stepfather demands that made me upset. I really suffered a lot in my life because my father left my mother pregnant. I really did not want to repeat that same story again. I forcefully decided to agree on your stepfather's idea and demand as I wanted to give my baby safe and sound shelter in life." After saying this all, she even began to apologize me. My stepfather was all quiet and said me not to trust her. Later, after my investigation from hospital where my wife's mother had been died, and my stepfather's office made it crystal clear that my stepfather was lying with me. I was not aware of my wife's background before marriage. I agreed she was physically with my stepfather, but it all was her past. Moreover, one thing that hurt me that she should share my stepfather's intention for her. I was so confused in making the decision. DNA test made it clear that the baby in her womb is mine. My wife is now 4 months pregnant. I took her at house back and cut off all relationships with my stepfather. Me and my wife are trying our best to develop again the same relationship once we used to have. What would you do if you got the same situation?